President Biden has officially joined TikTok in a bid to win over young voters. Recent polls show his stance, especially on foreign policy, is weighing off Americans under the age of 30, with nearly 3/4 of them disapproving of his leadership. Well, his campaign says it will now be able to create content that will resonate with critical audiences. But there are concerns over the app's security. Benji Hyer has more.
It's a popular application used by 150 million Americans. This is the Democrat Party's official TikTok account, promoting the administration's achievements and, in a perhaps less conventional manner, setting the stage for the 2024 election.
All indications are this bill won't...
TikTok boasts a growing influence in digital campaigning and media coverage. Almost half its users say they regularly get their news from the app.
President Biden took aim at...
Except the president didn't have his own page. That is, until Sunday night, when he announced his arrival with this.
Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce?
Mama Kelce.
Resisting months of calls to embrace this short-form platform to rescue his long-term political ambitions,
Trump or Biden?
Are you kidding? Biden.
Joe Biden had instead leaned on unpaid independent social media creators, spreading Biden's vision to young adults on his behalf. Many support his decision to finally join the app.
The Democratic Party is completely united behind President Biden and his...
Harry Sisson is a 21-year-old student with almost 800,000 followers, a huge reach. If you don't know him...
Harry, why don't you let me handle this one?
You got it.
You'll certainly recognize his co-stars.
There are a lot of really amazing creators on TikTok on the left, whether it's politicians or people who are just politically involved, and they do a terrific job of getting that message across. But I think that with 2024 and the stakes surrounding that election, we have to be all hands on deck. And, you know, people can look at me, they can look at other creators and maybe even sympathize more with us because, you know, we're just average folks. But, you know, the president is an authority figure. He has a lot of weight. His words matter. So I think having that on that platform and being able to spread that message as well would be very helpful.
Washington remains wary. The administration and many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have expressed major data concerns about TikTok's Beijing-based owner, ByteDance. The app faces potential regulation stateside. It's banned on government devices here, and the majority of US citizens think that TikTok, because of the China connection, is a threat to national security. But Harry still feels that videos featuring the president might be enough to turn the tide in an election that could be decided on such fine margins.
Biden in Pennsylvania won by 80,000 votes. In Wisconsin, it was 20,000. Arizona, around 10,000. Georgia, 10,000. These are, you know, the population of the United States is around 330 million. These are very small numbers in comparison to the population. So if we can convince 500 voters, 500 swing voters in each of these states, that could be the difference right there.
Those who've fought the ground game, though, are skeptical.
Social media and the digital world is definitely a helpful asset, and it can really help get your name out there, especially in the early stages. It's easier to break through if you're not really a household name and get your spread on the internet to then get to a point where you're considered relevant. But I don't believe that the internet decides who wins almost any election.
Real freedom.
Benny Stanislavski's worked on various campaigns for politicians who now rely on TikTok to mobilize voters and inform viewers. He saw the app arrive as a political force during the 2022 midterm elections, when Democrat Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania beat Dr. Mehmet Oz after posting a flurry of cutting videos roasting his opponent.
Go to www.
It's since been embraced by several prominent congressional representatives and governors, plus once Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy.
People on social media.
And yet,
we've seen a couple high-profile examples of where, like, the internet's candidate did not win. I mean, if you would have been following a lot of online sites in the 2016 primary, you would have think that Bernie Sanders had it in the bag. And he performed very well, a lot better than expectations. But the reality is that a lot of the voters, especially in Democratic primaries, but just across the country, especially in the older demographics, they're not online.
Social media does have a role to play in 2024. Joe Biden's also on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, even Threads. These are tools which candidates can use to engage people, including younger audiences, speaking to issues that affect them.
I think that the Democratic Party is going to be doing that. It just won't be Joe Biden necessarily doing a little dance. And I don't really know how helpful that would be.
Imagine that, a viral dance leading to a bump in the polls.
This is the song of the summer.
Benji Hyer, CNA, Washington.
Tell the DJ to have that going, okay?